Doug Pederson is the AFC Coach of the Year here in 2022, and honestly, I couldn't think of a more deserving coach in the AFC. He took a team that had won 4 games in 2 years, a team that had no trust in the coaching staff after what Urban Meyer left in 2021, and took them to the promised land, took them to the playoffs after what had been 2 abysmal years in the River City. Ultimately, this team started off really, really hot. 2-1, a blowout win in Los Angeles. First time in a long time they'd won on the West Coast, and then also a divisional shutout against the Colts. And then from there, the brakes just stopped working, and this team went flying down the hill, 100 miles an hour, slammed into a brick wall, and they were looking at 2-6 before they could even blink. Ultimately they would go to 3-7, and then they started to pick up a little bit of momentum. The Raider game, the Ravens game, then we really started to feel the momentum with the Cowboys game, and then they were able to ride that momentum to an incredible 9-8 finish, with multiple playoff games, you could call them, because it really did feel like they were winning, you're in, or you lose and you were really going to go home, especially that Week 18 matchup. And that's just one thing that I truly do love about Doug Pederson, was that this team never had that, Urban Meyer, like, oh my God, can we just get over with the season? Can we just be done? Urban Meyer all throughout 2021 talked about, oh yeah, we're on the right path. We're moving in the right direction. And it just felt disingenuous. It felt like he was just a snake oil salesman. And then when Doug Pederson would say these things, it didn't feel the same way. It felt, I believe him. Trevor's up there talking about how Doug is speaking to the team. Trevor believed him. And it just felt different. And it rebuilt the trust in the media, rebuilt the trust in the fan base, and most importantly, the trust in the team, in the locker room, and throughout the Jacksonville Jaguars facility. Doug Pederson was also tasked with rebuilding, essentially, an entire coaching staff. He brought in almost all new people to help this team be successful with the new pieces that they added. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, the big 3 targets for Trevor Lawrence this year. And when you look at them, they all had career years. Christian Kirk not only had a career year in receptions, yards, he also had a career year in touchdowns. Christian Kirk had by far the best year of his career in the NFL. Evan Ingram revived his career. Zay Jones looked like he is going to be a force to be reckoned with, as a kind of an underrated wide receiver in the National Football League. He really built up this team. Trevor Lawrence had his best year by far in the NFL, and he's already a part of the conversation. Is he, the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL? Is he the 4th best in the AFC? A lot of conversations that I don't think we're having if Doug Pederson isn't the head coach here, but he is, and that's why we're having him. Now, like I talked about earlier, he just rebuilt the trust. That's a huge thing for me. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's going to win the award over Brian Daboll, who was the NFC head coach of the year of the New York Giants. Now, Brian Daboll, yes, he had less to work with. Yes, he turned Daniel Jones into a playoff quarterback. Yes, they also won a wild card game while they were on the road up at Minnesota. But at the same time, he didn't have to rebuild the trust. There wasn't a massive fracture in the New York Giants locker room, by all accounts, coming out of New York, like there was in Jacksonville. There was a hard line between players and coaching staff that Urban Meyer strongly created. Brian Daboll didn't have to come into that. He was able to come immediately and start game planning for the season. Doug Pederson had to focus on regaining the trust, rebuilding the relationship between the coaching staff and the locker room, and that is one of the bigger reasons why I think Doug Pederson should have been Coach of the Year. If it does end up going to Brian Daboll, I ultimately would give my vote to Doug Pederson. No bias here. Where's my logos at? No bias here. I'm just going to say I think Doug Pederson did a better job bringing this team to the forefront of the national spotlight in the NFL than Brian Daboll did with the New York Giants. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think on that take. I'd love to have that conversation with you guys. Also, who do you guys think should be Coach of the Year? Drop your takes down below. I'll have that conversation with you guys as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Go Jaguars. Once again, congratulations, Doug Pederson.
Yeah, I just work here.